Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as it's a great Thursday, so we're going to have plenty of things to discuss going on, of course, with the latest in the coaching search. We're going to have who our heavy hitters are today. We'll get into some other things going on in the college football landscape as far as other coaches and other games, and some basketball, too. Horrible loss last night in the SEC. I don't know if anyone saw it, but we're going to definitely have to talk about that and get into your chats and everything, too, and have some fun with it. But, fellas, it's Thursday. How are the vibes here on this Thursday afternoon?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. You kind of alluded to it there, but man, I'm kind of shifting in that full basketball mode. Y'all knew it was coming with me, but when I'm trying to YouTube stream random exhibition games in the preseason, that's when you know the sickness is real. But no, I'm good. I gotta say I'm a little bit disappointed in the chat already. You know, if we start at 12:01, everybody tells us we're late, but we were 12 on the dot today. We were on time like Bobby Petrino. I'm just waiting to get more credit. That's all. We just want some respect on our name, man. That's it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good today. Shout out to my father. It's my father's birthday. I think he's turning close to 70, 69. I think he's actually 69 years old today.
Nice.
But my father, my best friend, my hero, wanted to shout him out. But no, I'm doing great. All week long, I've been a day behind, where like yesterday I thought was Thursday. Today kind of felt like Friday. It is Thursday, and I'm okay with that. But today I'm finally caught up. All week long, I've been like one day off.
Yeah, no, those are the worst types of weeks. It feels like it always catches up though at some point in time later in the week at some point. But hey, the reason I know it's Thursday is because not only we're doing a show on a Thursday, but tonight, of course, don't forget we're doing our live stream simulation of the Razorbacks taking on Texas A&M with our EA College Football 26 simulation. I'll start at 8 p.m. Which the Razorbacks lost last week to Tennessee, right? So now they are officially 4-2 on the season. Still in the driver's seat of going to a bowl game, college football playoff, control their own destiny, maybe for the SEC, but it'll continue on against Texas A&M tonight. So be sure to tune into that starting at 8 p.m. But I know that it's, again, a lot of things that we're going to get into, but it's amazing how whenever we've talked about certain coaches and certain coaches kind of, is this guy the guy, or who wants who, and like our voting, for instance, on InsideArkansas.com, had a little shift today as James Franklin has officially moved into second place behind Bobby Petrino, but ahead of Dan Mullen, which I know we talked about James Franklin, and I feel like we've talked a ton about Bobby Petrino and him being the interim coach. But, again, we'll have different names and we have time to kind of do it because there's going to be so many different names. But Dan Mullen is a fascinating one because of his connections. And obviously last week he was really high in the voting, finished first in the voting. This week he is in dead heat for second, but maybe even third, depending on how it all ends tomorrow. And I'm just curious for you guys' thoughts, kind of focusing on Dan Mullen himself. What do you think? Like, what do you think about Dan Mullen as a coach, pros and cons? Just overall, if he was the head coach of Arkansas, how would you feel? Where would your concerns be? Everything like that.
Dan Mullen, always competitive, whether it's on the gridiron or in the Inside Arkansas polls. It's crazy how that works, man. Okay, is Dan Mullen my top choice? No. Can Arkansas do better? I think so, but let's see what this coaching carousel looks like in a few weeks because things might get crazy here. Can Arkansas do worse? They literally have with their last couple hires here. You know what I'm saying? So here's what I know about Dan Mullen. He would take your job, no hesitation, whether he, said otherwise at a UNLV press conference or not. I know that he had a football program that I personally view as harder to succeed at or lower on the totem pole or whatever to Arkansas at number 1 in the country during his days over in Starkville. He got off to a hell of a start at Florida, but then they had Shoegate and the Darth Vader thing, and that derailed him. That's too much for any man. You know what I mean? But hell, he's already, bowl eligible and undefeated at UNLV. Would he win a national championship at Arkansas? Probably not. But give me the short list of guys who we could, hire and say, yep, that's going to happen. So to me, like, would Dan Mullen maybe raise and stabilize Arkansas's floor? I think so. He's 109-61 overall with his record. Most of that damage was done as a head coach in the SEC. And I don't know that there's a real sound argument against Dan Mullen being a good coach. Like I think he is. I know one of the big knocks on him towards the end at Florida was, well, he doesn't want to recruit, or he stopped recruiting. He doesn't like to recruit. We all remember that presser comment that went viral and got him in a bunch of trouble. I have good news for you guys. You don't have to recruit anymore. All you got to do is give a kid an NIL check and tell him that you're in the SEC. So if Dan Mullen gets financial backing and support, he's going to be a good coach that has a good roster. And if not, to me, it wouldn't matter if Nick Saban was your head coach. You're capping your ceiling for yourself. So if they hired Dan Mullen today with all the other available options out there, I would not be upset about it. I wouldn't be picketing, but I'd probably look at it with one eyebrow up going, is that the best they could do? But seeing this coaching carousel take shape and everything, and if the dominoes fell to where Dan Mullen was ultimately your choice, I just think Arkansas could do a hell of a lot worse, personally.
Yeah, I think that was very sound, Curtis, of laying it out there where I think there's a lot of stability with Dan Mullen. I mean, you look at his career. I mean, he's coached over a decade in the SEC, never had a year where he won less than 6 games. Actually, that's a lie. His first year at Mississippi State and his final year at Florida, he was 5-6 in those seasons. And so Florida, they fired him before the final game of the year, of course. There's a lot, like, so basically that's what I know is that's your floor, is being a 5-7, 6-6 team, which I think Arkansas fans, they've had a lot of years worse than that, should probably be okay with that. The question you have to ask yourself is, why did it not work at Florida? And you mentioned the recruiting. I think the recruiting is a huge aspect of this in terms of roster building. There would be a lot of questions of, like, could Dan Mullen really recruit a high-level roster at Arkansas if he really struggled to do it in his final years at Florida? And I think also defensively, of course, Dan Mullen, an offensive guy, X's and O's, really good at quarterback development. So those are the questions I would have going into it, but those are not hard to answer. You get a good defensive coordinator, you bring in a recruiting guy that's going to make everything work, and you give him a ton of NIL money. Those are answers you can get to some of those questions, but those would be the questions I'd have. But I'm with you, Curtis, that it would be a move that I think this fan base, it'd be tough to sell this as like the awesomest thing ever, but you could do a whole lot worse, and there would be a lot of stability with Dan Mullen. I also would be interested to hear from him and say, hey, you spent 1 year not coaching, or maybe it was 2 years there where you were completely out of the game and were broadcasting a little bit. Now you get back into it with UNLV. What did you learn in your time off? What's different about you now? How would you attack your third go around in the SEC? But I'm with you that I look at his tenure at Mississippi State and Florida, and there's some ups and there's some downs, but I see that and I'm like, man, I think there's actually something you could find there of a real case to make Dan Mullen your.
Yeah, no, I see. That's the thing is I feel like there's a lot of candidates that we all like, or at least that we wouldn't mind. And just to kind of do a little Wikipedia page reading of Dan Mullen, he's 53 years old. So all of you that are talking about geriatric coaches and old people, it's like, hell, he's 53. So he's not in his 60s. So that would be different. Of course, he was, at Wagner, Columbia, Syracuse, a few places. He was a GA at Notre Dame. But then we'll go into Bowling Green, who's the quarterback coach there from 01 to 02. But it was really when he was at Utah as the quarterback coach in 03 and 04 because he was there with Urban Meyer. Then he came over with Urban Meyer from 05 to 08 at Florida, which, of course, we know that that little stretch there, Florida had 2 national championships, Tim Tebow. They also recruited Cam Newton. He was there at Florida, but obviously didn't stay there and ended up going and transferring out because of Tim Tebow. And then he was at Mississippi State, which I'll be honest, guys, I was shocked, even during that stretch, how long he stayed at Mississippi State. He was there for 8 years. I mean, that was incredible. Great. And it was honestly during the time in the stretch when the SEC was probably at its peak when it came to competitiveness, when it came to the toughness, especially in the SEC West, because I was looking at it, he got there in 09. And if you think about it, like 09, 10, 11, 12, just that little stretch right there, you're talking about when, of course, Arkansas with Bobby Petrino was doing really good and had some success there. But you think about Les Miles at LSU, constantly having great season. You had Nick Saban at Alabama. You had you had Georgia out of the East with Mark Richt. You had Steve Spurrier at South Carolina, James Franklin at Vanderbilt, mind you. And you had, Gene Chizik at Auburn, which they won a championship with Cam Newton. So the point is like they had a lot of success. It was really a highly regarded conference through that stretch. And of course, his best year coming in 2014, they had the number 1 team in the country for a while. Dak Prescott was there. And it's still, I'll never forget it, guys, the very first ever college football playoff rankings that came out had Mississippi State at number 1. And everyone was like, just like we all anticipated, it worked out. But either way, he had success there. He went to Florida, had 2 10-win, 11-win seasons. And then he goes 8-4 in the COVID season. And then he's fired after going 5-6 in Florida in 2021. Also 7-3 in bowl games. So for those of you that care about bowl games, he's 7-3 there. And now he's sitting undefeated as the UNLV head coach 6-0, taking over after Barry Odom. So again, like you mentioned his record, Curtis, you mentioned, him being at Mississippi State, being able to win maybe with less, as they always say. But, I guess maybe the question would be is when he left Florida, it was in 2021, and that was just right when NIL and portal stuff started becoming a thing. So I guess the question would be, could he succeed in a high level? Because we haven't seen much of it other than this year at UNLV, but could he succeed with that NIL, the current landscape, and how everything's going on with college football would be the question.
That's it, man. Yeah. And that's up to, the answer to that question is yes. You give anybody the right amount of funds and they can put together a roster that's talented enough to go win football games. You have a clue of what you're doing there. And I think he's a pretty decent coach. So how would the boosters or the donors feel about that? Like, would they front the same amount of money for him that they were allegedly trying to come up with for Rhett Lashley, or that, some of the faction would for Bobby or whoever else, home run hire? That would be the difference to me, because it seems like a hell of a recruiting pitch, right? Like, hey, SEC, a ton of NIL, and my wife will make out with you. Like, that's, it's just kind of where you're at with this. I mean, why the hell would you not sign to come play for that? You know what I mean? But no, in all honesty, I do. I think Arkansas could do a lot worse. And I saw OKC Hogg, talking about the, well, if he can't win consistently at Florida, and I know, listen, I respect the Alex Golish movement from him. And I think he's a hell of a coach, up and comer too. But I'm just saying, like, he was 29-9 in his first 3 years there. You know what I mean? Like, he actually kind of did a hell of a job, and it got, sideways on him or whatever. But this is another guy who's, he's proven it on multiple fronts to me. And do you feel like you could do better? Are you going to point to his record against top 25 opponents? Everybody loves to do that nowadays. And I'm still waiting for somebody to give me the list of the guys who are available, realistic candidates that have played more than like 2 that you could get. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I don't hate the Dan Mullen idea at all, personally.
I saw the same comment, Curtis, that said if he couldn't win consistently at Florida, and I just say that's not how the Florida tenure went down. He completed 3 seasons at Florida. In those 3 seasons, his SEC record was 19-8, let alone his actual record where they dominated everyone else. SEC record was 19-8. And then in his final year, they go 2-6, and that's when he gets fired. But I mean, we're talking about a guy that, like we said, wins everywhere he goes. And I think the thing that intrigues me about Mullen is that he's proven throughout his career that, schematically speaking, he can take a group that is not super talented and have them compete with teams that are more talented than them. And by the way, I know that at Arkansas, we have this notion that, hey, we want to get someone who's going to come in and bring a ton of money and is going to bring in the best roster possible. And of course, that's what you want. You would love to see that. But realistically, is Arkansas going to randomly just become a top 5 talent team in the SEC? Probably not. So I think there's a lot of value in having a coach who has proven he can win with less.
Yeah, I think so too. And in fact, there's another thing I want to bring up about this, since we're speaking on Dan Mullen here in a second. But I want to remind everybody that the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas is one of our great new sponsors here on Inside Arkansas Live, as well as Pod at the Palace. And we know that vision is pretty important. Last time I checked, you want to make sure that your vision is on the next level and staying there at the next level, because if you can't see, it just really impacts your life and impacts not only yourself, but also the family and the friends and the people around you. But luckily for you, they are able to perform cataract surgery even before the end of 2025. So it's going to make your holiday season that much more fun and that much more enjoyable when you can actually see. Also, refractive surgery for patients struggling with readers, with glasses, or contacts. They have surgery options for everyone, and they have availability right now. They have a new provider, Dr. Rebecca Brown. She does a great job. She can help out with all of that, as well as doing Botox, filler, and IPL with their aesthetics provider, Olivia Risch. So again, they do it all, and they're going to make sure that you get the care that you need and make sure that vision is on point so you can start living your best life with the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas. So schedule an appointment today at 479-442-2020. That's 479-442-2020. You can also check out their website at eyecenternwa.com for more info. It's the Eye Center of Northwest Arkansas. So guys, I'm curious, since we're talking about Dan Mullen, it's hard to tell, but it just prediction-wise and everything, like what would be a legitimate ceiling, I guess, for you if Dan Mullen was the head coach? Because that's kind of what people may bring up, whether it's with Petrino, be like, oh, we've seen the best of him and everything. But if Dan Mullen was the guy, I mean, what would be reasonable? And we're going to assume too that he has the financial support and everything. But what would you guys feel like would be a reasonable expectation ceiling type of situation for Dan Mullen if he was the Arkansas coach?
I would hope that it would match what I hope the reasonable expectations and ceilings are, regardless of who they bring in here, which is we're not that greedy, right? Like, can we get to that consistently? Hey, 8 wins a year type of thing, and then every 3, whatever, you have one of those where you pop off and you get double-digit wins. Because if you do that, then you're automatically in the conversation for the college football playoff. Once you get there, it's not exactly like the NCAA tournament, but all bets are off. You like get in and then see what happens. But that would be my expectation: is raise the standard a little bit of where the program is actually at versus where the fan base wants it to be at. And based on his track record in the SEC, and I know it's a different era and everything, but seems like he would have a decent amount of traction towards doing that. So I would be okay with that. But that's where I'm at. Like I'm not looking for Arkansas to hire anybody and immediately you are 10 plus wins every single year, top of the polls, getting the buys in the college football playoff. I'm trying to be realistic here. But can we quit with the 4-win nonsense? Can we get off of this 6-6 business? Win 8 most years, slip up there and get double digits a few times, and just get us into that college football playoff. Let us get a taste, man. That's all I want is a taste.
Yeah, I know the circumstances are a little bit different, and it's a different era of college football, but I basically look at Dan Mullen's Mississippi State record, and I see that, and I'm like, okay, that should be like kind of your basis of you're winning 7 games consistently. You get 8-4 here. Then, it's rebuilding. You go 6-6. All right, now we're going 9-3. But for me, with Dan Mullen, you mentioned the ceiling, John. I think the ceiling with Dan Mullen is going to be determined by what quarterback he brings in and what quarterbacks he's able to recruit. I mean, this is a guy that coached, brought it, was around the Tim Tebow era, was around the Cam Newton era, was around some really talented quarterbacks throughout his career. Coach Dak Prescott at Mississippi State, and you saw his best years at Mississippi State were when he had Dak Prescott, when he had the quarterback that he wanted. So that's really, you mentioned, Curtis, that stability, going 7-5, 8-4 consistently. Then now maybe there's 1 year, year 4, you get your quarterback and you've got your guy and now he's a senior and you can really make a run at it. That's kind of where I think what the ceiling would be determined by. But I would love for that bottom line to just be a lot higher, of 7-5 being like a ho-hum year for Arkansas.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I was going to say, Andrew, is like if the Mississippi State thing, which I know people will be like, oh, you want to do better than that. But I mean, again, he went 33-39 in those games in the SEC. And I don't know, maybe it's hard, it's hard to predict what's going to, even college football in the SEC is going to look like here in a couple of years. But, with the schedule and no longer having it to where it's a divisional thing, and it just makes me wonder, like maybe he could exceed that from Mississippi State. Because again, he was in the West when it was at its peak, man. He was having to go against Nick Saban every year. He was having to go against really good coaches consistently. I don't remember who the permanent East opponent was for Mississippi State during that time, but either way, maybe a Kentucky. But still, it was like now with the schedule kind of churning out different opponents every year. At Arkansas, we know they play Texas, LSU, and Missouri every year. But maybe it's nice not having to go up against a Georgia or a Florida as consistently, or Tennessee as consistently as that. So maybe that would open up for him. Maybe that would be the case. But I just think that we have to assume, because that's another thing too. I know people will bring it up when it comes to coaches. Well, are they going to have the support? Are they going to have the financial? That's something that we don't know. So we just have to, when we're going to do these discussions, we're just going to assume that they are being fully supported, because that's, I feel like, the only game that you can really play, and being able to know exactly where you're at. But also another thing real quick, guys, because Google never lies, or at least Google AI. Someone asked about the top 25 records, like what they did against them. Did a quick Google search. Dan Mullen is 12-41 against top 25 opponents. 12-41. Bobby Petrino is 15-32 against top 25 opponents. Now, again, I just did a quick Google search, and that's what the AI told me. So I'm sure somebody will get mad because it's wrong. But if you wanted to know about high-level competition and how well they do, there's your win-loss record. So
most all of his losses came against top 25 teams.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah.
By the way,
if you want to spin it.
I love when people find out like these records and they always cite them as bad things, which like obviously like, you read it 15-32 sounds like a bad record, but it's like, is there anybody in the country outside of like Kirby Smart who has a good record against top 25 or top 10 or top 5, wherever you want to stop it?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, who would you guys? Obviously, Kirby Smart's a great one, but like, who would you guys like? Just like for a very good coach, like a very good coach, like what coach would you think of as far as just curious of what their top 25 record would be? Like a Dabo or like a something like that. It's because Kirby Smart obviously is very good because he's 38-12. But it's not too bad. But like Dabo against top 25 team, he's 40-27. So he's had a lot of opportunities there.
I have to make an announcement.
What's up?
Because I can already tell the way this is trending. Right now, we are doing a Dan Mullen conversation, and the chat is doing everything but a Dan Mullen conversation. It's like, oh, well, so you think Dan Mullen's better than so-and-so? Wait, so you think he's better than James Franklin? It's like, dude, we're going to do this one at a time. We're going to talk about all these coaches. We're just talking about Dan Mullen. We're not saying he's the number one coach. We're not saying he's better than anybody else. We're just doing a Dan Mullen conversation. And then we're going to do a goalish conversation. And then we're going to do a Summerall. Like, just try and have the conversation we're having. Quit trying to have a separate conversation.
We're gonna open the phone lines for OKC Hog when we do the goalish conversation.
Oh man, like that's be the only time, and he's the only one that can call in. That's all it's going to be. But no, I think again, making the case for Dan Mullen, I think it would be good. I think we would all be in agreement. Like if they hire Dan Mullen, I don't want to speak for all three of us because you guys may disagree, but I think we'd all be happy. It's like, hey, it's pretty solid. Let's see where it goes. I know everyone's going to be like, well, what about the staff? Who would he hire? I have no clue who he would end up hiring. Maybe brings in Urban Meyer as an advisor or something, do something like that. Make it crazy. But either way, I think it'd be good. He's always had really good quarterback play, which is nice. And again, I think they could do a lot worse. And speaking of that, as far as our Alumni Hall question of the day, presented by Alumni Hall, it's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. We're going to be there next Friday, by the way, folks. So come on out and see us. You can go and check out their website, though, because I know that a lot of you Razorback fans, you don't live in the Northwest Arkansas area. You don't get to come down very often, but that's okay. Go ahead and have the greatest Razorback apparel shipped directly to your door. Just go to insidearkansas.com/alumni hall, and you'll see all the different apparel items that you can choose from, whether it's Johnny O, they got Peter Millar online. They also have, of course, Columbia. They have Southern Tide. They have jerseys. They have hats. They legit have everything you could possibly want for your Razorback fandom. And with basketball season coming up, I know they used to do the must polos. You probably can't get the Calipari suits there at Alumni Hall. But hey, you can always have your Razorback basketball jerseys that are going to be in stock here soon as well. So check it out. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Go online to insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. You can scan that QR code and use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase with Alumni Hall. So simply ask the question, guys, for today. It's like, would you like to have Dan Mullen as your next head coach? Would you be good with it? And as of right now, this very accurate polling, exactly 2/3, 66.7% say yes, they would be good with Dan Mullen. 33.3% say no. And I'm sure because I don't want to speak for everybody who said no, because I don't know, but I feel like those people that voted no are probably because they have somebody that they want more, and it has to be that person. But I think it's a pretty good ratio and percentage, though, if you get 2/3 of the vote at least saying that it would be good to go.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would be happier than most Hog fans, I think. Like, I think generally I'm more pro Dan Mullen than most, but I'm kind of in that same boat of like there's guys I would probably prefer, and there's guys I'd maybe be more excited about and more intrigued by. But I would be worried how we would sell this to the fan base as like this groundbreaking move, but we'd find a way to do it.
And I know this is going to probably cause a problem me asking this question too, guys, but like, what do you think the realistic ones? Because obviously you could hire some nobody and it really cause some problems. But as far as the ones that are being talked about, who do you think would have the most negative reaction from Razorback fans? Like, of the ones that's been discussed and talked about, I mean, would it be like, I don't even know if there would be just one far and away answer.
Apparently James Franklin, but
I can see pretty way up there. I think if they hired Bobby, if Bobby went 2-4 down the stretch and then they hired Bobby, I think that would probably get the most pushback.
Gus Malzahn.
That would get a lot of pushback, as it should.
Yeah, Malzahn would.
Gruden?
See, I think Gruden, just because of people would be excited because of the
I would be pumped.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who would be like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. But yeah.
Yeah, like I think that it would be fun to talk about and be great for our business and the attention that would get paid. Because I think we can all agree because everyone's talking about the Calipari hire compared, and that would be probably the closest realistic one that would come close to it as far as gaining the drama and the attention and the storylines and everything. Because I guess, what was it, Cal, for the national championship game, just that story overtook that whole thing. I don't know what would be equivalent of that, but maybe like, if they hired him during the conference championship weekend, like every show would be leading with, instead of talking about the SEC championship, be like, John Gruden's going to Arkansas. Like that would be to that level, I think.
Some teams like they make their coaching hire, and then the team they just took over is playing in that bowl game or whatever. Like, what if they did that and Gruden was just kind of hanging out on the sidelines, and Bobby was coaching the team in the bowl, in the Liberty Bowl? It'd be electric.
Oh man, yeah, the Liberty Bowl. I don't know how you say the way. It's like, yeah, he's got to go over to Memphis and hang out. What? Honestly, would be the most like chef's kiss perfection thing is if Arkansas somehow, and I don't even know if this is realistic anymore because the bowls changed, but if they could go to the Vegas Bowl at 6-6 and have Gruden back at Vegas with the Raiders where they play, watching the bowl game, that would be great. That would be something. Because that would be the 6-6 bowl game I'd be really pumped to go to.
Yeah.
Vegas Bowl. Yeah, it's going to, again, we'll talk about all these different coaches and everything too, and get to what everybody thinks about them, because I'm sure it's going to be overwhelming. And we'll do some of your chats as well, folks, here in just a little bit. But I want to remind everybody, Hickey & Hole Law is our official law firm here at Inside Arkansas. As we know, these things can get complicated when it comes to legal cases, no matter if it's divorce, custody, criminal, civil litigation, everything. You don't want to be doing it on your own, because when you do it on your own, that's when accidents happen. That's when things slip through the cracks. That's when those details get missed. And then suddenly you're in a bad spot. Even if you're in the right, even if you have it going on, it doesn't matter, because it's so complicated to make sure that you are protected, you are guided the right direction. So let the pros do it. The best in the business, the best in the state of Arkansas. It's Hickey & Hole Law. They have offices in Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, as well as Mena, all across the state of Arkansas. So no matter what your legal needs may be, do it with Hickey & Hole Law. You can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com. It's Hickey & Hole Law. Things are about to get better. All right, guys, we'll get to some of your chats and everything here in a second too, but wanted to bring this up real quick because I'm sure everybody is like just waiting with bated breath on what's going on. Here's your injury report for the Arkansas A&M game, the latest. And we know that Le'Veon Moss is out for Texas A&M. Keati Armstrong, their tight end, big one. He's questionable. We'll see. I don't even know who that is. But either way, Arkansas, they don't have no questionables, no doubtfuls, no nothing. Out. Scandrett, Harrison, Cece, Brown, Green, Beck, Poski, Sealy, Okie. There it is.
Well, I guess it's a good thing that that A&M starting running back is out when your entire defensive line is out. That's tough, man. There is no real backup option, no depth there behind Cam Ball and Ian Jaffard. They're going to be in the 69 snap club in this game. So congratulations to them. They're going to have to do more Justice Boone on the interior, man. Like, that's going to be tough sledding. Ruben Owens is a really good running back, and they got a third guy there that's pretty solid too. We know Marcel Reed can run. Man, when the interior defensive line has been, maybe the biggest weakness there on that defense, or we could argue the secondary. When I see a team that runs it like Texas A&M, and then I see two wide receivers like they have in Concepcion and Craver, I don't know, boys. I don't feel great about this one, which means that they'll probably win by 3 touchdowns or something, but I don't like it.
I remember when David Okie first initially got hurt, and kind of the reaction was, well, I mean, he stinks anyway, so it's like it doesn't really matter. And I think you could probably say the same for Danny Saili. Well, I mean, it's not like he was that great anyway. It's not like he was making a ton of plays. But you mentioned the snaps, dude. Like that's a lot of snaps. I mean, literally, I'm glad that Kevin Otis got in last week, because now he's gonna. I mean, literally, you're gonna have him, maybe Reginald Vaughn, having some freshmen that are gonna have to play 15, 20 snaps in an SEC game. It's not a coincidence that Arkansas just gets worse over the course of the game every single week. They have the same players that are playing, and they get worse and worse, and they get more and more tired, and that's why Cam Ball is huffing and puffing, and people have been making this out to be like a Cam Ball conditioning issue. And Cam Ball, by the way, doesn't make any plays. And I've been saying that for a long time. Like, him just not being productive is one thing, but like his conditioning isn't bad, but he's playing 70 snaps. Like, that's insane. And it's crazy that Danny Saili, who I don't know if he's recorded a tackle as a Razorback, Him not being out shouldn't be a big deal, but for this team and for what they have on the defensive line, that is not ideal, man. I think Arkansas is going to have a disadvantage on both lines of scrimmage, offensively and defensively, which is just going to make things really tough, and it's going to make it really tough in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it either because it's like we've talked about, and I know we'll do more with our pregame show on Saturday at 9 a.m. and some other things, but it's like, to beat A&M, it just gives the vibe that you have to play your A game and you have to have as many people as far as contributors and starters healthy. And we all feel like the one position group that you really cannot afford to have much injury is, of course, quarterback, but also D-line, because Arkansas was thin on it as it was. And now they still are. And golly, it's just, I don't, like you said, Curtis, it's either going to go horribly, horribly wrong or they like step up and do it. But if I'm A&M, I know with Moss being out, but it's like, dude, just run it right at them. Just go right at them and keep pounding it because you're going to wear them down, and it's going to be, and you'll wear them down quick too. Like especially if the Arkansas's offense can't get the ball going and can't have methodical drives. So, if I'm them, I'm just giving the rock and keep trying to make them make a stop, even though I know they won't. So
all day baby gravy.
Yep, I agree. All right, so we'll get to some of your chats as well as the other fun stuff going on in the sports world. But want to remind everybody that OZK Insurance is our official insurance company here at Inside Arkansas. They're the best in the business because not only are they here locally in the state of Arkansas, but they're going to make sure that they make insurance simple for you once again, as they're a 100% independent agency. They shop the entire marketplace and deliver the best combination of cost and coverage, which, of course, saves you time and money. And last time I checked, saving time and saving money is always a great thing. Doesn't matter if it's home, auto, boat, motorcycle, life, or commercial insurance. Their friendly team has access to a wide range of flexible options designed just for you. They serve the Northwest and Central Arkansas areas, including Bentonville, Centerton, Fayetteville, Little Rock, Hot Springs, Springdale. I mean, they're all over the place, and they know what they're doing because they're about having that protection for you and being the trusted advisor you never knew you needed. So let OZK help you out. Start today with a free quote at ozkinsurance.com, or you can call 479-715-4200. That's 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. All right, so let's get into some of these chats because I know we'll have some other things to talk about, some basketball stuff, which I know, Curtis, you just retweeted. I'm sure we'll have some fun with that about that particular conversation. But either way, Cody just says, woke up this morning thinking we played Cincy tomorrow. I'm bummed.
That would be a tough realization to have, for sure.
It would be.
You can watch Alabama, Florida State on YouTube tonight if you want to tide you over.
Hopefully it doesn't crash like it did last night, man. That was YouTube was rough. It was tough sledding. It's always amazing to me that something like YouTube, owned by Google, which is literally like one of the biggest technology companies in the world, just has crashes when you're just trying to watch college basketball, man. Trey says, how many teams in the SEC have head coaching openings this year? Y'all's thoughts? Arkansas, Florida, Auburn, LSU, maybe. LSU if Lane leaves. Texas goes downhill, they can move on. Kentucky. Well, I think, of course, Arkansas for sure already is. Florida, it looks like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Auburn potentially. Yeah. Yeah. LSU. Like, what would it be?
If Kelly left, if Kelly took the Penn State job, which maybe that's a thing. That really might be a thing. I don't think they're going to fire Kelly this year. And I also don't think Stoops gets fired.
Yeah. Yeah, Stoops. The Stoops thing is so ridiculous with that buyout. I mean, I know buyouts are always crazy, but his is like, not only do you owe him an insane amount of money, but you owe him that money in 60 days. Like you have to pay him within 2 months.
I thought Stoops was just going to go to Virginia Tech. You guys see those rumors?
Remember Stoops almost went to A&M?
Yeah. That was his downfall. That's
a huge turning moment because if A&M had hired Stoops, perhaps Arkansas could have hired Elko any of these, years. And if they had fired Sam in 23 or fired him in 24, or maybe he would have just stayed at Duke. I don't know, but imagine if Stoops had gotten hired at A&M. A&M would probably be 3-9 right now.
Yes, they'd be even more boring than what they are. I mean,
hey, by the way, Kentucky also has to pay $22 million for their basketball roster, right?
Yeah,
dude, there's no way in hell that number is accurate. I'm talking about. No disrespect to the boys at On 3. I know that they do their work and everything. There is not a chance, a snowball's chance in hell that number is in any way accurate. I'm just going to tell you right now, because where the hell did it go? Who on that team is making $8 million, Curtis?
Well, you got to overpay guys to get them to want to play for Pope. Is what
So
it
you
is.
think, do you think there's like just everyone's making like $5 million?
Apparently. When they've got like 19 guys on scholarship.
I mean, yeah, like I guess it
But
could.
yeah, and Cats by 90's right. Like that number came from a local paper there.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, like Goodman was the one who started that. Remember this summer, he was like, "Oh, this is a upwards of a $20 million roster." And, you know, then Matt Norlander was like, "Oh, I'm hearing it's 16 to 18 million and, you know, whatever." And then we're hearing that they're giving 75%, or that's probably not accurate, but way more of their revenue share to basketball than anything else. And, you know, people, when I talk to folks about recruiting and everything, everybody's saying that Mark Pope's just out there recruiting as if there just are no rules at all. Like it's just infinite money, you know, within, and hell, more power to him. But maybe it is. My thought process is if you're going to have that be public, I mean, I know for a fact that is over double the amount of what Arkansas's roster is making this year. If you don't win a national championship, you need to fire that dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Right.
that's
Well,
crazy.
I'm like, so like you know, Otega Owe, I'm sure it cost, you know, a few mil to get him out of the draft or whatever, to kind of get him to stay. I'm sure Jaden Quaintance costs like a decent amount of money. Like I'm sure that's a big, but like seriously, where did the money go? Because it's not like they have this super talented roster full of like one and done top 5 picks.
They probably had to pay Owe quite a bit to keep him. I know they paid Aberdeen a hell of a lot more than Florida was willing to pay him. Yeah, man, I don't know, man.
Like, that's kind of my thing where I'm like, and like, listen, I know Kentucky fans are going to push back against this and be like, no, we really did spend $22 million. It's like, so then if that's true, why are you not disappointed in the roster? Because like, if you're going to spend $22 million, it should be like the most talented roster you've ever had.
Should be preseason number one.
Top 5 most talented Kentucky rosters of this decade, let alone like of college basketball this year.
Well, that's my thing is like, I don't think this is the flex that you want. Like, you know, again, if you think it's like, oh, because my tweet about this was about like, it's 0% chance. It's either 0% chance that they have that money, or like they are just that stupid with it. Because there's just got to be one or the other. But also too, it's like, it's brilliant marketing though. It's brilliant promotion. Because if you want, you know, players paying attention to you a little bit, you'd be like, look how much money we spend. So if you want to get the most, you come to Kentucky. I don't know if that's all the case.
Right. And I see Kentucky Farmer here says a better roster than Arkansas. Well, if you go look at, you know, all the rankings and polls and everything that's out there, they're, you know, kind of right within the same range of each other. And you should be ashamed of yourselves if you're spending twice as much money to put that together than John Calipari has. So I don't know if that's the flex that you think it is, honestly. And I do think, yes, it's good marketing to flaunt it, but you better hope that you actually have it, because now if I'm an agent or a player or whatever, anything that Mark Pope comes to me with from an NIL standpoint, I say, double that. What are you talking about? I know how much money y'all got. Double that.
I would also say, Curtis, you know, because like one, you could, like you said, their rosters are actually very similar in terms of where they're ranked, where they're, you know, the amount of players that are going to have a chance to play in the NBA and all that. But even if you concede and say, hey, Kentucky has a firmly better roster than Arkansas, is it $10, $12 million better? And if we're going to play by these rules, Kentucky fans, I know y'all are here listening, so then you would agree if Arkansas and Kentucky have similar seasons this season, that it would be an abject disaster. Is that fair to say? That if Arkansas and Kentucky have similar seasons, which, by the way, every metric, every ranking, every preseason poll has them in a very similar range. If they have anything close to a similar season, given the fact that you spent $22 million allegedly on your roster, would you agree that is an abject disaster?
I think they would.
So then, all right, we're going to go into the season with those circumstances. If that's the game you want to play, you want to claim that you are paying your roster $22 million, which everyone involved knows that is that is just not a true statement. And I don't know why we're lying and saying this. If we're going to play that way, then all right. If you have a season anywhere close to Arkansas, you are a fraud.
It was less than 2 weeks ago that we sat here on this show with those reports of SEC football rosters and their NIL, and Arkansas at 16 whatever million, and oh, there's LSU and Ole Miss or whoever at 18 million football SEC rosters. And you're telling me that Kentucky basketball is paying more money for their damn roster than SEC football teams, and they're not a consensus number one? That's crazy to me. It's wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. According to the report, it says that it's not for the rev sharing for Kentucky. It's not the 45% to men's basketball that Norlander of CBS Sports put out there in July, is what this report is saying. It says the true number is close to 25 to 30%, according to the conversations in the department. And it says for considering $20.5 million, that would give Pope and the Wildcats between $5.13 and $6.15 million to work with for the 2025-2026 season. So for what that's worth. Rev share, man, and with the NIL and all that. It's just funny. That would be, I'm trying to think of like, what would the comparison be in football this year? Would it be like
Texas Tech?
Yeah, like or just Texas Tech, or maybe I'm trying to think of like some team that probably will finish like top 15, top 20, and then saying like, we've spent more money than anybody else in NIL. I'm like, yeah, that's unfortunate for you, man. Like, it's really unfortunate for you if you don't have any of the results to happen for it. But yeah.
WKRP says Inside Arkansas doesn't get to set the bar for UK. You guys set the bar for yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I see Cats by 90 being like, well, who's to say that we're not the best team in the country? And like, listen, completely fair. Like, we'll see how it plays out. But that's our point, is that like, if you're going to claim that you're spending $22 million, which and we know is an outright lie, if you're going to claim that, then you kind of have to be the best team in the country. Like, this would be a disaster if you're not, especially since you've had some of the most talented rosters in college basketball for 20 years now.
Yeah. And also on top of that too, not only just the best team in the country, you should at minimum be the best team in the SEC. And so like, I'm just telling you right now, if this doesn't work out, not only will it be an abject failure, but it also show what you Kentucky fans have been clamoring for, talking about Mark Pope. He's not a better coach than John Calipari, it would seem, because if he has that level of talent and he still can't win at the highest level, he's all X's and O's. He knows the game. Well, apparently not, because he had the most talented roster, most expensive roster, still didn't do anything with it. So you've added this story right here. There's already a ton of pressure at Kentucky, but it added an exponential amount of pressure.
They've already backtracked, by the way. Kentucky Farmers, they only spent $12 million. They've already backtracked now. They're like, actually, we don't want those circumstances. Our roster is actually $10 million cheaper.
Oh, of course. It's how it always works out. But
man,
whatever you guys got to keep telling yourselves. Let's see. Also, Finch just says, "Sup, fellas, having IT issues at work earlier. Call my IT guy." And apparently Curtis made me famous with another shout out last Thursday night's live because the IT fella asked if I'm a listener. LOL.
There we go.
All right.
Love that.
So yeah, pretty soon you're going to start.
Ears are always open, man, around these parts.
I say pretty soon you're going to start getting pictures taken with you because you listen to us. Because apparently that's the way it's been for all of us. But like the guys in Hot Springs last week, just people are going to be like, "Oh man, you're Finch from Inside Arkansas."
That's our goal, is to make y'all famous.
Yes. It's like Kanye West said. All right, we already answered that. Heartbroken Hog. I guess. Seth damn only says literally a worse version of James Franklin. LOL. Okay, maybe so.
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree either, but I also think I don't view that as a knock, because I think James Franklin's a good coach.
Yeah, exactly right. Also, too, there's one I was going to say with right here from OKC Hawk Curtis. Hey Curtis, if you had to guess, who do you think will be getting Jordan Smith, Caleb Holt, and Brandon McCoy, or imagine if we got all three?
I imagine every day Arkansas getting all three. I would love that, man. Best odds. I wouldn't rule Arkansas out with any of them yet, but the best odds I think are pretty clearly for McCoy. I think Michigan's probably the top competition there. Alabama in that mix also, but I continue to like where Arkansas is at with them or with him. Jordan Smith Jr. I mean, you guys know the drill. There's going to be a lot of competition there with Duke and Caleb Holt. He's kind of a wild card. I've heard that big bag wins with Caleb Holt, in which case you'll probably go to Kentucky, right? But we'll see if that bag's as real as they say it is.
Also, too, Omri says, hey, John, appreciate you guys. Crazy idea, a little wild. You should power rank the chat every Thursday. 1 Finch, 2 Sharkensaw, 3 OKC Hog. This is based off valuable input and wild takes. No, our power rankings comes on who gives us the most money. Isn't that right? No, I'm kidding. No, because here's the thing. If we did that every week, all it would do is just like we're doing a coaches voting poll and it just sets the entire world on fire and everyone gets pissed off. So I couldn't imagine what the power rankings of the chatters would end up being. But I don't know. Maybe that'll motivate some of you to really kick your hiney in gear and start being good chatters.
My number one this week is Farmer Don.
Farmer Don was cooking yesterday.
Yeah.
It's Farmer Don. Yeah. You need to get back in here and start mixing it up a little bit more too. Also, again, Cats by 9. He's like, Karras is so upset. Football season is still going on. He's ready to talk baseball and all the shows. I'm right there with him.
You already know, man.
That's why we had to hijack that conversation I got distracted with the roster thing. We were talking about Mark Stoops' buyout, and then I was just like, yeah, what about this roster though?
We could only ignore that for so long. It's like, holy cow. I mean, because that's an outrageous number to be thrown out there like that. And I had to talk about it. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still just makes me laugh. Super chat. Yeah, we're gonna do this again. Dawson Arnold says, thoughts on the fan-made Pigpen Collective. Big fan.
Well, I can speak on that because I've been talking to the guy that's putting that together, and it's like it was brought up last week, and we weren't really comfortable saying a whole lot about it because we just didn't know that much about it. You know what I mean? But I've been having some good dialogue with him, and going to talk to him further later this week. Just have some questions about how it works. You know, how it's going to be facilitated and everything. I know there's a lot of newness to it, so I'm looking forward to carrying on those conversations. And I'm sure once I know a lot more about it, I'd be happy to share, you know, kind of the thoughts and everything. Like we said last week, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good concept. Just want to clear some things up and have some questions answered and kind of take it from there.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the main thing is like, especially with something like that, you know, it's not like is it a charity thing? Is it a thing that's like, all right, you know, is any money going to be made in it? Is it an actual business, or is something nonprofit? Is it something that obviously, you know, giving to the Razorback players, like which players is it going to be transparent? Like then so many questions more so than anything. And that's why, you know, it's again, not against it, not for it, just need to know more. And I know that he's been reaching out to me too, and I need to get back with him and talk more about it. But again, if it works out, if it's something that could work out, yeah, I think it'd be a great idea. But I think the questions need to be asked, and it needs to be, you know, confirmed and made sure that this is something that could work, should work, and could be evolved in. So
yeah, my only questions and the same kind of sentiment as you guys, where I'm like intrigued by the idea, just kind of want to know more. I need someone involved or someone to let me know, because I've been watching all these things and haven't really seen it answered. Like what is the plan for how the money is actually going to get to the programs, and they are actually going to get it to student athletes? Because everything I see is like, hey, we need to raise money, in which we all agree. But it's like, how is that money? How if I tell people, hey, you should give your money to this, how can we ensure that it's actually going to go towards an athletic department at the University of Arkansas? And what does that operating cost look like? I'm sure like operating cost is a very normal thing, but like, what is the cost of the operation? Like, what is it costing to run this? So it's like, if we're taking 10%, where is that 10% going to? And I'm not saying that there's not obviously, like you said, Curtis, you've been having a lot of good dialogues with them. I'm sure the answers to these questions. All the things I've seen online have not answered any of those questions.
Yeah. And we exchanged messages this week. It was between Hot Springs and the live show and SEC Media Day. It's been crazy so far this week, but I told him I plan on getting back to him later this week. So we'll talk more about it, see what's going on.
Yep. And also too, let's see. There was from Paddlefish says, hey, Curtis, did you see an ESPN writer say ACUF is not going to Michigan was the most surprising recruiting miss?
I did read that. Yeah. Myron Metcalf. He was doing like, it was a story like that with a bunch of different deals, like the most, the best recruiting class, or, you know, the worst, whatever, the best transfer, all those different things. And the biggest recruiting surprise was that Darius Acuff didn't go to Michigan. And I know he's a Michigan guy, you know, so from that standpoint, I get it. But that was really going to be Arkansas or Kansas pretty much the entire time. Now, I think Michigan was kind of working behind the scenes after the deed was done to see if they could swipe him, and that didn't happen. But I just don't know that I could ever see a scenario where a high school senior elects to play college basketball for John Calipari and that be a massive surprise. You know what I mean? I could have gone a lot of different directions with that conversation, but somebody going to play for Coach Cal, I'm never going to look at that and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, I think it's just like it'd almost be like in football where, you know, somebody went to play for Georgia and Kirby Smart. It's like, man, I can't believe he got this 5-star player. It's like, well, yeah, you probably can. I can't believe he didn't go to Kentucky with all that money that they have, though. Seriously. All the money they're throwing around. Also, Blind Squirrel Sports says, hey, Curtis, which SEC basketball program makes the greatest improvement this season and why is it Georgia?
Man, I hate this because I love you. I'm so down on Georgia this year. I'm just not seeing it, man. They almost lost to Georgia State in an exhibition last night. I know that doesn't mean anything, but I don't know, man, because I was a big fan of Silas Demery. Now he's at UConn starting for them. I was a big fan of Asa Newell. Now he's in the NBA. I like some of the pieces that they had, and now it's like Blue Kane, Samto, and a bunch of guys I'm not that familiar with. So I need to watch them more before I can share some love on Georgia. I think I had them 15th in my power rankings, but improvement wise, it's tough, man, because 14 teams made the NCAA tournament, and I think South Carolina and LSU are both going to suck. So I don't really know about that. I will say I think that I am higher on Oklahoma than most other places I've seen. I've got them finishing in the top half of the league. I like the transfers from St. Joe's and from Notre Dame that they brought in. I think it's interesting that they have a healthy Nigel Pack. So I think they got a backcourt that's going to score a lot. I think they're more athletic in the front court. They beat Texas Tech in an exhibition. So I guess I'll go with them by default, even though they were a tournament team last year.
This is a big year for Porter Moser, you know. And speaking of coaches, Georgia, Blind Squirrel Sports, you got to hire a real coach. Before you can really have anything as a basketball program, you have to hire a real basketball coach, and Mike White is not that. Sorry.
They just extended him through like 2040 or something crazy.
I know, and it's crazy, man. Like, there's nobody who has done less with more throughout his career than Mike White. He always has a really good squad that doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Like, literally almost every single year of his coaching career. You can look at the roster and look at the record. The record is worse than the roster every single year. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I've really never understood it either. But I was also like, what was the best Georgia basketball team of all time? Like, or like we're recently.
I don't know, because all their best players over the years have played on bad teams. Like Anthony Edwards was on a horrible team. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I'm pretty sure, was on a bad team. I feel like they had another guy that was good in there, but I don't think he was on a good team.
Yeah.
They had the Plain team, the team that won the SEC title. That's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have, you know, we're not sitting here going to talk about Georgia, but it's like just funny that they only have 3 tournament championships in for the conference as far as 1932, 1983, and 2008 when they beat Arkansas. So, yeah, brutal stuff there. All right, because I know we'll have our heavy hitters here in just a little bit too. I have Kentucky fans pissed at me on my Twitter, so it's not surprising.
The sun rose this morning.
Yeah, just like it's just another day in Paris. It's almost like some of them. Sometimes I think, I'm not saying all Kentucky fans, but sometimes I'm thinking, I'm like, do you guys have some sort of app or technology to where anytime I tweet anything that mentions Kentucky or anything, they like get a notification and immediately? Because I was like, y'all don't follow me, so I was like, how do y'all know so quickly if I just mention Kentucky?
By the way, I just saw this Jeff Goodman tweet from 35 minutes ago. He says, and I quote, anything short of a Final Four is a disappointment for Mark Pope and Kentucky with that payroll. So if y'all, you push back when I said it, but when Jeff Goodman says it, now will you believe? If you don't go to the Final Four, you suck.
Yeah. Now that Jeff Goodman said it, now it's real. Now it's official. Want to remind everybody here on Inside Arkansas, we're presented by our friends over at BetSaracen's, number one sports betting app in the state of Arkansas. A lot of great specials going on. And of course, if you're a Razorback fan looking at the A&M game this weekend, the line's been moving right now. Arkansas 9-point dogs. And I'm going to be monitoring this weather. It keeps changing every time. Sometimes it's about the storms and rain coming in the morning. Sometimes it's later during the game. Sometimes it's after the game. So it's definitely going to be something to watch for, but may impact your betting. So make sure that you do it with BetSaracen, the number one sports betting app. And also for you that are going to be tailgating, which hopefully the weather holds up for that, they're having a big old fiesta with the tailgating there at Fayetteville with Darren McFadden's going to be there too. So I can't wait to go and stop by that and check it out as well. It's going to be awesome. And they do a great job when it comes to having all the great specials, parlays, win some money, win big with money. Do it all with BetSaracen's number one sports betting app. Just download the app by clicking that link in the description below, or you can scan that QR code You're going to get a great deal where if you bet $25, you get $125. Pure, simple, easy. So again, get to Bet Saracen app by clicking the link below or scanning that QR code and use the code INSIDEAR. Bet $25, get $125 with our friends over at Bet Saracen. Yeah, I'm hoping for a good weekend here, guys, with my betting. I've been trying to roller coaster. Last week wasn't too bad, but I need a big jump here, and they got some good college football games going on, so I'm needing some help.
Yeah, I was on a decent roll for a couple of weeks there. Last week, I was down bad until the very end of the night, and Georgia. Sorry, Quinn. Coming back and doing what they did to Auburn helped me quite a bit to get over the hump on some things, but I kind of broke even last week. I need a big week too.
That Georgia game saved me from having a disastrous gambling day. That took me from 1-6 to 2-5, which is nice.
Yeah. A few other chats here too. I like this one from Trey, because he was talking about, he's like, man, Andrew's having a Sam Pittman week. Thursday practice on a Tuesday and Friday practice on a Thursday.
That's exactly how I've been doing, man. I've just, every day I woke up. Yesterday felt like a Thursday to me. I don't know what it was, but that's been until about 3 p.m. before I realized it was Wednesday.
What's the most day that you would get of the week that you get mixed up just in general? As far as you wake up and you think it's a day? Because to me, I think it's always Wednesday for me. Always Wednesday.
Once you get to the middle of the week, Tuesday to Thursday just kind of blend together a little bit, which is tough because you guys know I'm a huge Thursday guy. Thursday is my day. I feel like that's the most underrated day of the week, but it gets blended together. Tuesday, Wednesday, that's when I lose it.
Yeah. Also, Hickory Hawk says Mark Pope in Kentucky will trip on nickels to get to the Sweet 16 or in the Sweet 16.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Also, it made me laugh too, because I thought about it, I was like, no wonder they had to spend so much money. You know how much those camp retreats had to cost to go up into the mountains? Those things are expensive to go over there, and with the guitars that they had to buy to sing at the campfire, it's expensive stuff.
Dude, I can't wait for basketball season, man. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's also when the fan bases will be probably, because that's the thing is we'll have some fans from other schools come in for football, but it's Arkansas is just so irrelevant that there's no real. But basketball, man, it's going to be whatever games that next game for Arkansas in the SEC is just going to be littered with many of those fans.
They could lose to Cincinnati in an exhibition next week, and it would wind up being our highest viewed post game.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be nuts, man.
No, I can't wait. Or if they end up winning and running the table with all these great opponents that they're playing, and just everyone's gonna be like, you just watch. You watch. It's gonna happen.
Don't let Cal beat Michigan State that first weekend. Y'all aren't gonna be able to tell me nothing, man. Don't let it happen.
How often does John Calipari enter a year where, I'm not saying there's not a ton of pressure on Arkansas. Obviously, if Arkansas sucks this year, that would be problematic. But it's Arkansas doesn't really have this Final Four or bust moniker hanging around them. You know what I mean? I feel like this is the least amount of pressure Cal's had entering a season in a while, I feel like.
Yeah, because it's again, you went to the Sweet 16 last year with a team that just was not great in the regular season. So, it's hey, because we all know it's a crapshoot when you get to the tournament. It's just about getting to the tournament and all bets are off. But I am fearful that one day, because Arkansas is getting kind of spoiled, 4 out of 5 Sweet 16s. It's one day, I just really hope it doesn't happen for Cal, but one day they're going to lose a game they shouldn't have.
Happen to Cal, man.
Yeah, it's not going to be great.
It'd make for a tough off season. I'm not going to lie.
That will be brutal. Which Kentucky fans, a little bit about losing to get to. But here's the deal: is Cal's not going to let that happen, because he just needed to go to a superior basketball program that sets him up for success, and that's what he's going to have here at Arkansas. True. You guys should have just had a chicken man over there, and he would have been fine. Let's see. Heartbroken Hawk says Dan Mullen is good porridge, not too hot, not too cold. He's just right.
That tickled me, man.
When's the last time you had a good old bowl of porridge?
Oh,
what is porridge? I remember as a kid, I always thought it was just oatmeal. I know it's not.
Is it Goldilocks that?
Yeah.
That's the only reference I can think of that has porridge in it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's when someone says porridge, I'm like, have you ever eaten a thing of porridge? Do you even know what it is?
It kind of is like oatmeal.
Yeah, it's what it seems like to me. It's somebody, I forgot what it was last year. Somebody was talking to me that they're I had to move out and bust up some old shiffer robe. And I'm like, shiffer? What is a shiffer robe? And they're you don't know what a shiffer robe is? Why would I know that? It's something from the 30s that people talked about. Sorry. Also appreciate this from Austin from work. He was really talking about my hat. He said, John said, the taller the hat, the closer to God. Thank you. And also says John got that hat on and sipping pre-workout. The man means business. It's not pre-workout, just water. But thank you. No, I like this hat. It's like the old school vintage hat. I like it. Yeah. Pick one up at Alumni Hall if you'd like. And also, finally, before we get our heavy hitters, Pooh Bear says, I know Quinn is sick. Them Oklahoma State Cowboys got the best of Auburn Tigers last night.
Yeah, the Pokes might be my heavy hitter after that one. That was something. See, Doug Gottlieb's boy was the one, he transferred to Oklahoma State and was the one getting all those buckets last night.
Wait, his boy, like does he have
leading
a son
scorer, his leading scorer from last year at Green Bay on that shit.
It wasn't inconceivable to me that Doug Gottlieb would have a son that would be hooping at Oklahoma State. So I was like, damn, that's actually
no.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, how in the world? And I was like, well, hopefully he does. What was it? He stole credit cards. Is that what Doug Gottlieb did there?
Yeah, I think he was ripping credit cards.
Something involving credit cards.
Can't be doing that, man. Can't be doing that. All right, let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show. And it's presented by our friends over at HD Roofing and Construction. We're talking about the storms that are coming up. You got to make sure that your roof is good to go and that it can handle any sort of storm that comes your way. And it won't even be for this weekend, but it could be for this winter time where we know rain's going to be a part of it. And there's going to be snow. There could be ice. You never know. In Arkansas, it's always unpredictable. But what you can predict is your roof not being ready for it. And that's why you have to have HD Roofing and Construction help you out. And not only do they have their locations in Central Arkansas, but also they have a new office that is just opened up and serving Northwest Arkansas here today. It's 479-957-1928. So if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, makes it really easy for you to get them up here and to get you checked out quick, fast, and in a hurry as they have opened up their new office. They're growing. They're expanding. They're like Inside Arkansas themselves, just constantly on the up and up. So if you were in the Northwest Arkansas area, be sure to call 479-957-1928. And then if you're in the Central Arkansas area, of course, call the number on your screen, 501-428-0429. Also, check out their website at hdarkansas.com. See the scan that QR code on your screen. It's HD Roofing and Construction, part of our heavy hitters here on Inside Arkansas. Okay, so I'll go ahead and kick off with my one of my heavy hitters, I should say. Josh Gannon, the Arizona Cardinals coach, was this was just a very, very, very interesting comment that he had to say when being asked about, being asked about emotions. This is just what he had to say.
How early in your career did you have to start trying to figure out how to take the emotion out of coaching, as far as when you have all these injuries and you have all these different pieces? When's the first time that you can recall that?
2007, when our quarterback went to jail.
Okay. Whoa. He's, of course, referring to Mike Vick, for those of you who don't remember. And that was it. It was like, okay, sure. All right. Just very, very poignant and very let everybody know. And, of course, people were talking about, you should have said that and everything. I don't care. But it was just, I don't think anybody expected that answer. It's like, yeah, it's like when my dog died the other day. Yeah. It's like, okay, very serious about it. So my heavy hitter is him, because he at least was honest and brutally honest. And I don't know, it just made me wonder, is that something he's thought about when he took emotions out, or what that just came to his head of never thought about it that way with emotions. And I'm just going to say, hey, when our quarterback got arrested in 2007, I don't know.
By the way, I thought this was interesting too. He was barely on the team. He was 23 and was like the ball boy or something like that. But it is still kind of interesting. Did he cross paths with Bobby, you think?
I mean, Bobby was on that team where he got arrested, that was 2007. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if, I can't wait. Well, actually I can. I wish Bobby would go to Atlanta for the SEC championship or something, because then he could just be asked, what do you remember about being, the Atlanta Falcons coach? And, does you have any emotions being here in the Mercedes-Benz Dome? So never get that. But either way, that's my heavy hitter, just because I love the directness. Also, too, just a quick one, side note. I don't know if you guys were John Candy fans. I was a huge John Candy fan growing up as a kid. I think if you were in the 90s kid, you had to love John Candy. They did that documentary, I Like Me, Amazon Prime. Great doc. Watch it if you're a Candy fan. Really sad, really emotional, but really cool. So that's another heavy hitter. Is John Candy. Gone but not forgotten. 30 some odd years later, dude's still awesome. Still love those movies.
Nice. Okay. Well, I had 3. We've talked about 2 of them now, because I was going to do the Oklahoma State bit, which that was just funny. It's whatever. Auburn will be fine. And then I saw the Kentucky stuff. You got to be heavy hitters. That $22 million payroll So I'm going to go to my third one now. Andrew, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but your boy Pablo Torre is at it again. So I was just looking at this from On3 report. North Carolina GM Michael Lombardi took a fundraising trip to Saudi Arabia 2 weeks before the Tar Heels season opener.
Hey, he was on the
never ends, bro.
Torre was on the North Carolina stuff back whenever like the Jordan Hudson thing first started happening. He was like pulling out all these secrets about him.
Yep.
Like, where's this guy getting this stuff? Like, what is he doing?
He's bringing that blood money to the Tar Heels, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. Also, Michael Lombardi. I actually used to like Michael Lombardi. I used to listen to a podcast on the Ringer where he would talk NFL, and I liked listening to his perspective. I cannot believe in the year of our Lord 2025, Michael Lombardi is being treated as like a notable figure. Like I remember when he got hired at UNC, people were like, "Oh wow, that's a great hire," and I'm like, "Bro," I was like, "This dude's been podcasting for a decade. I don't know if he's really locked in like that, but apparently he was having dinner with the Sultan to get some funds. That's pretty cool." Well, speaking of basketball, I'm not a huge Celtics guy. Like for my entire life, mostly, I haven't hated the Celtics, but like, you know, I was a LeBron guy. So when the Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce teams were cooking, I was anti-Celtics. I'm kind of anti-Jason Tatum. Curtis, you know this. I always try and throw my shots at Jason Tatum. But I tell you who I do love from the Celtics is Joe Mazzulla, their head coach. Dude is just a nut. And he always goes viral for crazy stuff of like saying they're all going to die. And he gives his funny quotes. Well, did y'all see they did a media versus Celtics coaches basketball game?
Yes.
Absolutely buzzing. I wish I would have pulled the video, but I was worried my computer would crash. I don't know what the final score ended up being, but I saw at one point the score was 57-4. I'm just telling you, if Cal wants to challenge us, I'm not saying we'll beat the coaches because they have Ronnie Brewer and they have Tyler Ulis. Matter of fact, I actually don't want to do this, but we could do better than 57-4, right?
I think we would score more than 4 accidentally.
Yeah, we knocked down a couple threes.
We would get blasted, but we would score more than 4.
Yeah. I know. Like, I saw some media members talking about it too. I think that'd be the case. Yeah, it will probably never happen, but it would be fun.
As soon as like I saw Coach Brewer, you know, he was getting involved in the discussion, the fun the other day, and the next thing I know, we got Hogball Burner in the comments like, "Oh, Brew, we'll just put Curtis on Ronnie." No, don't put me on Brew, man. Why would anybody put that evil on me? I'll never forget being at the practice in the Bahamas, and he was screening the hell out of Mekhi Mitchell. I mean, he was flattening Kai, bro. I don't want any part of that. No, sir.
Like it's what you get. It's your curse for being tall, Curtis. You have to guard the tall guy. So
crazy work, man.
Yeah.
That's like a Tom Murphy job.
Man, yeah, you don't want to see Tom get down there and backing the guys down. You don't want to see that happening. Also, I want to throw this into the mix too. I want y'all's thoughts on this. I know we're all dog people, but Kirk Herbstreit's caused some controversy here with his dog. And I'm going to play this video because he was just, very simple video posting his dog at the hotel when they arrive for a game and what he's doing. Playing fetch in the hotel hallway with his dog, and he then in the tweet that made it to the hotel in Cincy, and Peter's getting ready for some NFL on Prime. A lot of that energy, and this has caused quite the controversy because people think that. Well, actually, I'll just give you guys' thoughts. What do you think? Do you think this is problematic?
I am not super bothered by it. But I do sometimes get annoyed by people at hotels who have their pets with them and they're just not, like they don't have them on a leash or whatever. That gets on my nerves a little bit. It's a good boy. It looks like a good boy right there. Got some plodding feet though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, them feet sounded loud. As long as you keep them from barking and yapping a whole bunch, I'm not really bothered by it. You want to play some fetch in the hallway, that's fine. But did you say only got some heavy feet?
They're clunkers, man.
They're gracious, yeah.
So listen. Yes, I do think this is problematic. Is it a huge deal? No. It's just a minor inconvenience to the hotel. If it were just this in and of itself, not a huge deal. You're playing with your dog at a hotel. maybe pipe down a little bit. I don't love it, but it's the fact that, one, he parades this dog around all the time. We have to pretend to care about this dog. We did a funeral for your dog last year. We did this whole tour where we were like, oh, the dog, it's this horrible thing happening. RIP to the dog. And listen, it was sad. It was emotional. We all said our piece and all that. We all felt our shame. But now you have another dog that we're supposed to care about and we're supposed to like parade around. Like, listen, no disrespect. Kirk Herbstreit has been shoving his dogs down our throats for multiple years now. And I just don't care. And I definitely don't care if you're being disrespectful to the hotel that you stay at and you're having those clunker feet just stomping around. People can't sleep at the hotel. I'm out on this, man. Kirk Herbstreit, I used to defend Kirk a lot because I feel like people always hated Kirk Herbstreit. And I was like, dude, he's good at his job. Why do y'all hate Kirk Herbstreit? In the last few years, I've come to hate Kirk Herbstreit. I think he's gotten too big for his britches.
I saw a lot of people that were irritated about the thing they did for College Game Day last week where he was in the Jeep with the dog and they were going to the airplane to fly to the Red River shootout, and then his signal sucked and everything while they were doing the picks. And a lot of people were like, they're making this about him and not about the football. Like, they're ruining the picks with all this. So people were pissed about that. Now they're mad at him for having the dog in the hotel. Just
listen,
what's the common denominator?
Like, if your dog dies, yeah, get another dog. Like, that's perfectly fine. But like, we've already done the bit where we were like, oh, Kirk Herbstreit has this dog that's America's sweetheart. And then that dog died, which was a very sad thing. And it's all cool, but it's like, I don't know, man. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing about Kirk Herbstreit's dogs. I'm just tired of seeing them. I don't want to look at these guys.
Wow.
Well, listen, I am of the belief that it's one thing where it's like seeing this in real time is not that big of a deal, but like I this is something that I've been frustrated with, kind of like what you talked about, Curtis. It's like if I walked out of that hotel room, which I don't know, maybe they have the entire floor rented. I don't know. But it's like if I walked out of my hotel room and there was a dog running and not on a leash, just down the hallway. That's the thing is like everyone's like, oh, he's my dog's so sweet. Doesn't matter. I don't know that. Your dog could be mean. Your dog could bite me. I don't know that. That's why I need to give him on a leash in like these areas. That's the thing that bothered me the most. If like, and it would be that awkward thing when he's like jumping on you and barking at you, and then he has to run down the hallway. Oh no, he's fine. He's fine. No, he's not, because he's bothering me and annoying me. So that's where I came into play of it. And you know, I'll be honest, I don't watch as much College Game Day and stuff as I once did, but maybe it is a little over the top with the dog and all that. But I don't know. It's like I don't have a problem with it, but I do have a problem in general with anybody just has their dog out in a public place, not on a leash. Because again, I don't care if your dog's a good boy. Like you guys have met Rowdy. He might be this most scared, timid dog of all time. But guess what? I'm still going to have him on a leash no matter what. So keep your dogs on a leash.
If anyone else did this, they would be an asshole, right? Like if you took Rowdy right now and you went to the sleep in and you got on the 8th floor and started running around, everyone would say you were an asshole and nobody would disagree.
Yeah. No, I do agree. I do agree. That's what I'm saying.
I'm recusing myself from this conversation. We transitioned from Mike Vick to shaming Kirk Herbstreit's dog. I think we're heading in the wrong direction, boys.
I don't shame the dog. I shame Kirk for positioning the dog as this figure of America.
Fair enough.
And he's doing it. He's doing it twice.
Yeah. There you have it. Well, we may want to get off of this before we start having people really get mad at us if having some of these hot takes. But reminding of everybody here as we get to the chat and some other things too, that our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, that's the ultimate professional holiday lighting when it comes to your home. We know the Halloween will be here before you know it, but Christmas, man, that's really when the lighting goes up to another level and the decor and everything to go along with it. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put up those Christmas lights. Well, if you're in the Northwest Arkansas or River Valley area, you got our guy Brett of Walter Christmas Lighting. They're going to help you out. All you got to do is you text him. Just text him 479-459-1380, and he will get you all set up with a free estimate of how it can handle your house. And it's going to be really well done, where he takes a picture of your house and he puts the lighting on there and you get to see it before you agree to it. And also, they can provide you with not only all the materials, but you can do the pattern that you want. You can do the colors that you want. They install it. They have free maintenance in case any sort of light goes out or strand goes out, and they do the takedowns in January. It's the best of all worlds. So check out their website over there at walterchristmaslighting.com. You can also scan that QR code on your screen right now, and it'll take you to their Facebook page. You can see all the different examples of Walter Christmas Lighting, but just text our guy, Brett, 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. All right. So getting into some of your other chats here too. I thought I saw one that was highlighted from our guy John Beckman of the A-State side of things. I don't know where it
right
went.
in the chat.
Yeah.
He said Arkansas is going to be an 8 seed.
An 8 seed.
Yeah.
After that ass whooping they took in football, he's in here talking about hoops now. What are we doing?
So he says Arkansas ain't no basketball school. LOL. Only one championship.
Hey, bro, the Razorback leftovers aren't there to save your program anymore, man.
That's more hell to me.
Hope you enjoyed your 3 years of being competent.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Then there's got to be some other schools. Like, does Michigan State have any other titles besides that one? Because I'm like, I mean, that kind of does that make them not a basketball school if you only have one title? I don't know, but just whatever, John.
What kind of school are you if you have no titles in anything?
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
I get why like titles would be referenced as a thing, but it's like whatever puts you on the national stage, whatever is like what gets your fan base excited, that's what school you are, you know? Like Gonzaga, obviously a basketball school, despite having no accomplishments to show for it.
I'm just baffled by just coming in out of left field to be like, I'm from Arkansas State, and I'm going to say you guys aren't basketball stuff. It's like, okay.
Well, it's like, is Arkansas a football school because they only have one football championship? It's like they don't have any baseball championships, but it's like, I don't think national championships is the main criteria here, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Our guy OKC Hog, I forgot this one, says if Millie couldn't consistently, Mullen, I think is what he's saying.
Oh, we talked about that one.
Okay, yeah. That's
I brought it up. I forgot that I started earlier.
Yes,
I'm going to make sure. So, yeah, and because like Mr. Warlight says, Butler, Georgetown, Gonzaga, etc. Basketball teams with 0 championships. Arkansas is more of a basketball school. So,
dude, Georgetown doesn't have a chip.
They do have a chip. Pretty sure they do. Yeah, they do. I think they do. I know they lost to Villanova in like '84, but I still think that they for sure have a championship.
Well, like, listen, I see some confusion in the chat. I'm not saying championships isn't the goal, not what you want to win. I'm just saying, like, you know, when we say, hey, so and so is a basketball school, we're not saying they're a basketball school because they've won 7 national titles in basketball. It's like when you're at a university and you take pride in something, it's like, what is it that you take pride in the most? What is it that gets your fan base the excited the most? Like, I'm not saying championships don't factor into it, but it's like, if saying Arkansas's only won 1 basketball title, so therefore they're not a basketball school, well, then what school are they? A football school where they only have 1? A baseball school where they have 0? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you shouldn't want to win titles. I don't know how y'all come up with this.
Yeah. My whole, like, I guess evaluation of it is like, if you pull a fan base, you're like, hey, you get 1 championship in 1 sport this year, which one you choosing? That kind of tells you what kind of sport you are. And for that, I think Arkansas fans would be football if they choose one. Not to say they wouldn't take a basketball one, or that basketball wouldn't have a ton of people voting on it. But that to me has always kind of been the way of approaching it. Also, speaking of that, we were talking about Auburn basketball earlier. I guess I saw that Bruce Pearl is now heading to TNT Sports, and he's joining Jalen Rose, Jamal Mashburn, and Chris Webber on new College Hoops studio show. So,
okay, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than him live tweeting his son's loss last night, but I will watch. I like Bruce Pearl.
I do too. But I guess TNT Sports, like, what are they playing college basketball games? I know that they're part of Turner, which is the NCAA tournament and stuff, but I don't know. I guess I need to read more on it.
I'm with you where I'm like, all right, is it just gonna be like a 30-minute thing on TNT with no game around it? Because usually they do like the NBA night, and then you have your post game or whatever. Yeah, man, TNT does need to start playing like regular season college basketball. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, listen, I'm always for more. Nothing against the fine folks over at ESPN, but man, it'd be nice to have some, because I think with SEC especially now, everything's on ESPN, and the fact that Arkansas and Duke's on CBS this year is almost like everyone's like, yes, thank you, don't have to be on ESPN. It's nice to have some different changes and everything there too. But because I'll be honest, like, as far as, like, we know we talked about like the NBA on TNT and that's moved to ESPN. College basketball, I will be honest, guys, I don't know if there was ever a college basketball like studio show I really like enjoyed and watched a lot. You know, maybe like during the tournament, I know they had the ones with, like, you know, Greg Gumbel and all of that, but besides that, I never really watched much. I always hated it when it was like Digger Phelps and Bob Knight on the College Game Day stuff, but I don't know. Was there ever
whatever Greenberg? There's like, I think it's maybe Greenberg and Jay Will. Greenberg and someone else. That's been the only studio show that I've ever like watched and been like, oh yeah, it's solid.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's changing so much, and especially with not having as many games and everything too to go along with it as well. So Austin from work says, did Bruce Pearl just want out? I'm confused. I like him too.
Weird deal. He's just like, I'm not all in this anymore, but I'm going to stay at Auburn, and now I'm going to just become an analyst. That's what guys who get fired do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting deal. Everybody thought he was going to run for office or whatever, and he hasn't done that yet. So
him and Feinbaum need to get together, man. They need to figure that out.
I just don't understand where all this came from as far as like just sports figures and coaches and stuff just deciding to run for office. It's like, you got the Stephen A. Smith thing. Tommy Tuberville did and won. And it's mainly just Alabama connections, but I just don't understand. Like, I guess, but it's like, you want to go into something like that? Like politics has got to be a certain thing, but I don't know. Maybe some coaches are good at it. Maybe some players are good at it too. So, yeah, Kingsley said it became transactional for Bruce.
I guess so.
Yeah, that was a whole thing with Calipari talking about him with Arkansas. It's like I'll stop coaching when it becomes transactional and all that.
Stopped coaching years ago.
Man, you think we'll probably hear from Cal again next week, right? Leading up to the exhibition game.
Has got Kenny Payne written all over it, but maybe. I hope so.
Yeah,
you guys remember that?
That's about to say we need to start taking bets on who will be the first non-head coach to do a press conference. And is it Kenny Payne, the clubhouse leader? Has he got good odds? Is he minus 120?
Kenny will do the first show at Sassy's. So maybe it's Chuck or Chin for the press conference. We'll see.
Yeah, I wonder if Cal's going to be over at a New York Yankees game once again. Doing that could absolutely be the case. So, all right, well, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
I don't think I have any final thoughts today. I think I'm content.
Well, I'm happy that you're content, Curtis. Look forward to seeing everybody at 8 p.m. Of course, reminder, we're doing our video game stream. We're going to bounce back with a win this week, or we at least hope that we're going to will the computer into winning. And I hope everyone's in a better mood tonight. Grouchy.
Well, hey, listen, it's got everybody on edge, man. That's seeing football and the stuff that goes on there with coaching searches, throwing in, Kentucky fans and Kentucky having all this money that they're spending, and they're talking trash about it. I mean, just people are upset. People are up in arms about it. But that's what tonight will be about, is just chill and not taking a video game very seriously when it comes to the actual way that it ends up going. Because you got the opposite record. You're 2-4 in real life, but 4-2 on the stream. We'll see if they can bounce back and not make it. As long as they don't make it for October, they'll be all right.
I actually have one more final thought, which came from our producer, intern Cameron, who says that it would appear as though Arkansas basketball has the same amount of national championships as Arkansas State does Division I basketball tournament appearances. Wow. So for John Beckman, who's in a tizzy here,
one tournament appearance. Wow, that's pretty sad.
Intern Cameron is our research team here at Inside Arkansas Live.
Stud, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. It's awesome. No, but we do appreciate everybody listening in, watching in. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. And again, we'll have the live stream starting at 8 p.m. tonight that you'll be able to tap in for. We'll have some fun with that, with the EA Sports College Football 26 side of things too. And you can also follow and subscribe to our audio podcast wherever podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, Pod at the Palace, Bombastic Podcast, Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, and Inside Arkansas Football Podcast. And we're going to have some fun on social media too. So be sure to lock in for everything going on in the Razorback sports world. That'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson and intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m.